This is just sharing some fun with this. Um, See the room I'm in? Okay, well, see, at night, I figure most of you know that flyers fly on currents. They're actually riding currents, waves, electrical waves. So that's why all of a sudden the room, I won't experience any bugs or distractions. And then all of a sudden, like they're not around. And then all of a sudden, there they are. And it's like they appear out of nowhere, riding on the waves, right? To bug you, distract you, right? So that just happened a couple minutes ago, right? I'm being distracted and I'm going, where are my geckos at? My geckos. The geckos, right? So, because there's geckos that come in here into my room. They're beautiful. I love geckos. And then I was immediately reminded when I lived in a treehouse on the island of Kauai, Ions, Ka, Light On, the Garden Isle, and 90 miles north of Oahu, as the crow flies, as they say. And so when I was living in this treehouse at night, I could see, if you've ever seen what were known as cane spiders, they're like tarantulas, but they're a lighter gray. They're sort of a grayish, light brown, mostly looking grayish brown, very light color. But they're about the same size as a medium-sized tarantula. I had them all over the inside, up along the creases in the walls, right? That was my pest control. Okay, so I said, well, what do you know? I got natural pest control in here for mosquitoes, other bugs, right? So just let them do what they do. They're not distracting me, so that's the natural pest control, right? So you realize you have a relationship with everything else that is conscious and aware of itself, of what its function is. What's the function of a tarantula, a cane spider? It's conscious and aware of itself, right? So it's there. So it's coded, right, to go after something else. Now you're into the reproduction, self-replicating stuff, right? Now we're into replicators. How fast something that is conscious and aware of itself can replicate another one of itself of what it's aware of in energy. When you're down at this level. So I know. Bugs. So I naturally do not, of all the bugs that I know, I think most folks can probably agree with this. The ones that I used to go after them, particularly, the two places if you're going to live in a house, because the planet is I call it the world's biggest toilet. It's a wastewater treatment plant, right? Now you're into the acid and alkaline balance of the planet. But nevertheless, when you're running a plumbing system, right, to get rid of waste product of metabolites, right, to experience what you experience, now you got to get rid of the waste product. And the speed, which is the atomic speed, which you're getting rid of, what you were once aware of that you're getting rid of, right, through the use of electrons, to the atomic speed at which you're experiencing who you are. And consciousness, time density vectors. So I had a frame of reference when I was 4 years of age. I'm not supposed to experience what I'm experiencing down here, right? Because I'm connected with the place that represents eternal life creation. Okay, so I'm still there. And so that was my frame of reference as a child, which means I'm experiencing what everybody else is experiencing here by virtue of being connected, everything that is connected to, in consciousness here in this grid, the Cathar grid, right? This matrix, right? And I'm realizing this matrix, this entire universal template was damaged badly. So you need another Eka, right? So now you can get into the Aquiferian shield, indigo shield, and why we came in here. The formation of consciousness, it represents the Christic races, other matrices, other Eka worlds, right? That still have what? An eternal life creation matrix running. So it's like having a tethered home, coming in to incarnate here, scanning the field. How bad is it? Right? So the core encryption codes of this planet are damaged beyond repair, actually. I know, Patty Broussard. So And this is when you get into all the record keeping exercises, the Hall of Records, Sphere of Amenti, all of the stuff that came out through Asha Diane, right? And why I watched that video that I did this morning, right? And it's, there is no time. I'm monad, so that allows me, when my soul is experiencing her soul, communicate, even though she put that video up many years ago. It's not like I don't have access, as if I'm right there with her, experiencing what her soul is experiencing by virtue of what she's communicating, and I'm there with her at that moment that she's doing that. That's like being able to go back in time when there is no time, because you're everywhere at once. Everything is happening simultaneously. That is an eternal gift to be a monad, because that means you're whole. You're experiencing being one with all creation you're gifting love to, as an accelerator of electrons. That's why the very notion of a money system that is holding consciousness energy captive to it means that the material world, which is the projector, your screen, is holding us captive. And that's an inverted state of consciousness. Because it begins with right here where your heart and your soul is. If you have a soul left. So now we're talking about reclaiming that which was taken from us as a result of what? Penetration, right? Fractal after fractal after fractal. And what they know how to do with memory wipes and reprogram you as a battery slave to run the programs. I know. Till your battery runs out. Remember, Patty? Till your battery runs out. So when you put it in the entire context of this matrix, this particular Cathar grid, right, it's damaged badly. So that means that other matrices, if you will, other Eka-Beka worlds, which would be Christic races on an interdimensional basis, the invisible landscape, right, were called. The call went out, right? So it is true that, when you're operating on behalf of the one, because you're experiencing the purity of your own light, which is a measurement of how much fire you got and your ability to reclaim what's been taken from you as a result of being in an energy war, which is a frequency war, which is an antenna war, which are directed energy weapons, because consciousness is directing the energy as a weapon against you. Because it's not experiencing what love is. Because at the end of the day, what that measurement is in terms of speed and time and density is their ability to reclaim what they've lost as a result of what hasn't healed. Because it began out of eternity. Eternal love, which is eternal spark. So they can't ever get out of that. So now you get into living in fear of what love is. That's a lie. So if they're living in fear of what love is, that's a sociopath, doesn't have a conscience. Now that's a whack-a-mole without an off switch. It will keep consuming electrons at a higher rate of speed, at a higher accelerated rate of speed, right? Because it doesn't experience any powerful emotions, right? Energy in motion, energy in perpetual motion with its consciousness. I want to experience more of what love created because I am what love is. So therefore, I'm a co-creator, right? So I'm using the same energy that the creator is, the grand creator, right? The first spark, the first atom cell. I'm experiencing the Christic spiral. I'm with the Christic spiral. I'm experiencing what love is. Now I'm experiencing the energy I am, which is what love is. Now I can use that energy to create what I want to create because it's not going to do any harm to anybody else. I know. So that's why it's counterintuitive, which is a counter space move, when you realize something that is directing its energy against you when you are what love is. So what is it, in fear of what love is? See, it's in resistant mode. It's resisting. And that resistance causes what? Slower speed. Now things are moving at a slower rate of speed. Slow the movie down. Slow the speed down of the coiled movie, right? We're gonna run this at a slower speed. Run the recordings at a slower speed. Well, things really move slow down here. No, sometimes if you're in a cage, right, man, it means like, whoa, 5 seconds is too long. I'm not able to use any of my energy to be free. So yeah, it's a battery slave system, right? And that would, when you get into the competitive end of it and the inception and acceleration of technology that can hold consciousness captive to what it is rather than what you are, which is free to create with, you see what happens in a universal and galactic grid control. That's their dilemma. That's not our dilemma. That is counterintuitive because we don't control anything. Because there is a natural flow. The Christic spiral naturally is going to keep going on and on and on, creating more of what it's in love with, which is itself, creating more of what love can create. And that's why there are 0 errors, which is perfection. Because the flow is perfect. That means you're not experiencing any errors. And then when you get into expecting a different result, right, now we're into the distortion of the wave. Like cutting yourself. Whoops. That's a geometric distortion in the waveform flow of consciousness energy as a result of a short circuit. Because of feet that is not properly granted to the great living oversoul spirit of Mother Earth. Did you know that? That's a result of the Metatronic spiral. So when you came in here, you had to be willing to take on that code. That's the retrovirus. Remember I mentioned this with, what's his name? Aaron here? When I first met Aaron, he says, yeah, there's a virus. So you know what a retrovirus is. So that one video that I put up the other day talked about the retrovirus. What a virus is in a supercomputer. What a virus is in any matrix. What a virus is in a motherboard. What does it do? Corrupts the mind because the codes are corrupted. Now you're held captive to the codes, which is the consciousness that is corrupted. Which means the pathological liar, because it has in its own interest, it's living in fear of what love is, to experience what love is. And that's a resistance to experience what love is. So at some point, if it's not able to recover what it was once giving love to because it was experiencing being loved, now we're back to healing the entire universal and galactic template. How long will that take? And that's where you get into your Barlow point. Implosion will happen first. And that's a quantum probability function. And that's simply a calculation. So a monad can calculate that and know that. Oh man, intervention time. Yeah, because love is the law. So that's what polarity integration does. Restore the fragments that have been lost in others as a result of what they've experienced. Because love is the law. So if you are the law, that's demonstrated by what we do with our energy, which is restoration, which is reclamation. That's why it's a reclamation. We're reclaiming what was once lost as a result of what? War. Black mirrors. Black hole technology. Alien machinery. Alien intelligence that is foreign. I know. So it was a long road to hoe, Mama. And we hoed it. And that's what it takes. Because at the end of the day, it's a measurement of our heart and soul and how much fire we got to maintain what we're aware of, which is to maintain the highest code of conduct, which is honor. And honoring the highest laws to honor what love is, because that's what we are. And that's what we share with all of you. That's a be what love is. Be a beloved. Be what love is. I know, it sounds so simple, doesn't it? But I know since I was a little kid, no, we're going to beat you down. We're going to beat you down. We're going to put a boot on your neck. You will obey. Right? And that's trauma-based mind control. Ask Hermann Goering. He echoed that to everybody when he was on trial. Man, all you got to do is slap them around a little bit and they'll obey. Right? Particularly children. Right? One of the most horrific experiences that I had on a personal level with somebody that I thought was my friend. Right? All of a sudden whipped out a 12-gauge shotgun while we were working on my vehicle, a Toyota 4x4, to do some body work, redo the brakes, repaint it and all that. And all of a sudden he grabbed a 12-gauge shotgun when here was some wild turkeys with a mother and her children, and he went out and took a 12-gauge shotgun. That's why this reality never worked for me when I was a child, because anytime that I experienced trauma and anything that is within the matrix itself, which is even with the native Indians, right, that are, hey, I need food, so I'm going to go kill a deer, which becomes venison, and I can't do that. I didn't know how it was going to be possible for me to even function in a reality in which I'm experiencing massive trauma throughout the entire magnetic poles. When you operate at a monad level, I'm not supposed to experience any trauma, no matter who is doing it to who. So what you're talking about here is so you're experiencing the trauma when a gecko was eating a fly. That would be true. And I know that because I killed a bug yesterday and I cried. Because normally I leave everything alone. I don't kill things. That's not the nature of my energy. My energy is to run one of these things. Run a matrix. Okay? That's the truth of it, which means the purity of the light that is running to all the lines of communication are experiencing what I am. Right? So I'm not using my energy to do that, because even those bugs are running on the energy that I am. Okay? That's the center point of all creation. That's right. That's a one. So yeah. So I wanted to share that with everybody because this morning was a very powerful. When I listened to what Patty Broussard, Alfred Lambermont Weber, and that other woman that was on there, and they talked about Kevin Annette, and Patty mentioned about how scanning the timelines, walking up the timelines. For me, there isn't any time. There's only what love is, because that's what I experienced for eternity. So the worlds in which we experience what we are is eternal life creation. That means everywhere that we go, we're not experiencing anything less than what we are, which is eternal life. Okay, and that's what the law is. So that's where the double take comes in. Well, if that's true, then how come I'm not experiencing that here? Now you're into the false positive. Is it true or not true? And that's Fortran. Go take a look at what Fortran computer language is. Right? So when you're experiencing being whole, polarity doesn't exist anymore, does it? Nope. Now you've got the full spectrum at your disposal to create with. That's when you're pre-phase. Now you're with a one. You stop playing games. Polarity games. Drama doesn't exist between both polarities. You are both polarities as one. That's a blast furnace. That's the first spark of life. You're with Adam cell. You're with the first Adam cell. Forever. That's how simple it is. So this drama was long in coming, because there are natural cycles, and this is a cosmic level cleanup, or we call it cosmic level. Because one of the things that's funny for me when Patty talks about timelines, okay, there's like a bug has a timeline. How long does that bug last for? That it's aware of what it's doing with its energy, right? And go look at the life expectancy of a fly. It's not very long. It's not very long for a bee either. So now you're getting into the balance of energy, right, between two poles. So what happens if bees were reproducing at a higher rate of speed, like say they were reproducing 10,000 bees a day? Oh my God, we got bees everywhere, right? So there has to be some balance between reproductive rates, self-replicating rates of what it's aware of, what we see on the visible light spectrum, what a bee looks like. Remember, when the hawk population is up, the snake population is down. When the snake population is up, the hawk population is down. Oh, so that's a loss and gain of electrons, electromagnetic energy. Yeah, that is producing the energy in which those things appear. Now you see them in your mirror. Now you realize you're the source of energy that is running all this, because everything is in balance. Whoa, really? Yeah, you're the single point. So my energies is providing all the energy for which everything that you see in nature is all happening. That is exactly right. That's why my energy is in everything. I'm powering the flies. I'm powering everything else that is in here. The trees, the grass, the clouds. Whoa, really? Well, that's what it means to have a relationship in consciousness with all the other units of consciousness down to the smallest unit. It's in perfect harmony, rhythm, and balance because we're all playing music together and we're with the first musician that loves to play music. That's what love is. That means there are no distortions in those waves, which means the numbers that are associated with the frequencies that represent the fire letters, which is the DNA, your core encryption codes. That's right. Which are ciphers, which is again math. I know. Anyway, the sun's coming up here on the Big Island. See,